Have you ever felt like you're drawing, you're practicing, you're watching tutorials, but your skills don't seem to be improving? Or maybe it feels like you're even getting worse. And it's super frustrating, especially when you see other people leveling up and you're just sitting there like, what am I doing wrong? Maybe drawing isn't for me. I'm not talented enough, I will never get there, and stuff like that. Some of the reasons might sound kind of basic, but honestly, they are the things that really hold you back, in my opinion. So let's talk about the common reasons and, more importantly, how to fix them. Oh, and before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and it means more people will get to see this video. Thank you so much for your support, guys, and let's dive in. Okay, here's the thing. Not having a clear goal or having a wrong one can totally mess you up. Let me explain. If your goal is super vague, like, I want to get better at drawing, well, not gonna keep you motivated for long. It's just too abstract. And you need something specific, realistic, and with a deadline. I personally love the SMART model, which stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I won't go too deep into it, but basically your goal needs to tick those boxes. So let's say you want to get a job at Disney as a character designer, right? So your goal could be like create a portfolio with 5 character designs by December 20th, 2025. Or let's say you're aiming to get into art school and you need to improve your sketching skills. So your goal could be like sketching for 2 hours 3 times a week for the next 6 months. See? The more specific, the better. This one's huge. We all tend to stick to what we're good at, our comfort zone, right? But like the more you try new things and experiment, the faster your skills will grow. For example, I spent years copying photos because that was my comfort zone. I didn't want to step out of it, and guess what? I stuck and eventually I burned out. Getting out of your comfort zone is actually pretty simple. Just try something new. Change the technique, use a different medium, do studies, whatever challenges you. And yeah, it's gonna suck at first, but it's totally fine. Just keep going and don't be scared to mess up. A lot of self-taught artists skip the basics, and honestly, it only makes everything harder. Think of it like building a house. You can't do it without a solid foundation, right? So brush up on things like color, perspective, anatomy, volume, stuff like that. We live in a time where you can learn literally anything online for free if you're willing to look for it. If you're not sure where to start, analyze your work and compare it to others in your field. Spot the weak areas and focus on improving those. Like if your work feels flat, spend some time studying lighting and practicing exercises for creating volume. Oh, and if you guys are interested in a video about fundamentals, let me know in the comments. I get it, life happens. We've got school, work, family, whatever. But if you're drawing once a month for 10 hours straight, don't expect that much progress. Consistency is key, and that doesn't mean you have to draw every single day to improve. Honestly, that might burn you out. Instead, make a schedule. For example, you could say, I will draw at least 30 minutes on Tuesday and Thursdays and at least 1 hour on Saturdays. Put it in your calendar like it's an actual appointment. And when you really don't feel like drawing, tell yourself, okay, I will just sketch for 5 minutes. Most of the time, you will keep going once you start. But also don't beat yourself up if you miss a day. Just don't skip more than twice in a row. Otherwise, skipping becomes the new habit. Not getting feedback can seriously slow you down. You can only see mistakes within your current skill level, right? Someone more experienced can point out things that you didn't even realize were issues. I used to think I have a pretty solid understanding of facial anatomy until a more experienced artist critiqued my work and showed me all these gaps in my knowledge. And some of you might say, yeah, but some self-taught artists become pros without feedback. And sure, that's possible, but it takes way longer because you're basically fumbling around in the dark trying to figure things out on your own. To get feedback, look for artists offering reviews, critiques, or mentorships. And focus on artists whose style aligns with what you want to achieve, not their follower count. Remember, more followers doesn't equal more skill. I mean, sure, followers can be a cool metric, but that's not the thing you should base your decision on. When I was learning, the most of the feedback I got from courses I took. And those courses were amazing, but when they ended, I was like completely lost. I had so many questions, but there was literally no one to ask. And honestly, I know that I'm not the only one who's been in that situation. It's such a common thing. That's what actually gave me the idea to start a test mentorship program. So here is what I'm thinking. I would work one-on-one with you, create a personal structured learning plan based on your skill level, give you specific assignments to help you improve, review your work, and much more. For now, I'm only planning to take a small group of people to test it out, and the cost will have a huge discount since it's a trial run. If this sounds like something you would want to try, I've left a link to the waitlist in the description. Once I finalize the details, I will email everything out to those on the list. Another big reason you're not seeing progress, you're not resting enough. I get it, drawing every single day is awesome, and if you can keep it up, I'm low-key jealous. But even then, taking breaks is super important. And I'm not talking about quick breaks between drawing sessions, I'm talking about a real intentional breaks. Like, if you're drawing every single day without stopping, at some point your hands and brain will be like, nope, we're done. You might not even notice it, but you will start feeling uninspired, frustrated, or like your work just isn't improving. Taking breaks actually helps prevent this burnout feeling. Even stepping away for a day or two can refresh your perspective. You know this feeling when you're staring at your art for so long that you stop seeing what's wrong with it? It's like your vision gets foggy, if that makes sense. So taking a step back helps you see your work with fresh eyes. And listen, if you're feeling totally drained, don't be afraid to take a longer break, like a week or two or even a month if you need it. It's absolutely normal. Just give yourself a permission to rest without guilt. And let me know in the comments if you guys want a video on dealing with art block. I've got a lot to say about that. I know those TikTok tutorials and hacks are so tempting, like draw this eye in 3 easy steps. But honestly, they are not helping you develop real skill. Just think about it. If you learn a shortcut how to draw an eye in one specific way, you're stuck. You just won't know how to adapt it to different angles. Same thing with tracing photos or using tools like symmetry. And now, don't get me wrong, those tools can be helpful, but only if you're already confident in your skills and you can work without them. And tracing, it's totally fine as a learning exercise, like if you're studying the art style of a particular artist, but relying too much on shortcuts can really hold you back in the long run. Basically, there is no cheat code to becoming a better artist. It's all about putting in the work even when it's hard. And trust me, the effort does pay off. So let's talk about perfectionism. It's like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, being able to critique your own work is super important. But on the other hand, if you're constantly nitpicking or obsessing over every little detail, it can totally hold you back. I used to be that person, spending hours trying to make one piece perfect. My sketching teacher finally told me, for every perfect piece, you should have 10 messy ones. And honestly, that advice changed the way I work. Now I make it a point to do quick, messy sketches that are supposed to be ugly. And only occasionally I will spend more time on something more polished. Starting something intentionally imperfect is hard, but it's so freeing. It helps you focus more on the process and less on the outcome. Plus, it makes it easier to actually enjoy creating. And while we're here, let's talk about comparing yourself to other artists. Look, comparing yourself isn't always bad if you're doing it to learn, not to tear yourself down. Like if you're looking at someone else's artwork and you're asking, how did they achieve that? Or what can I learn from their technique? That is super productive. But when you're using it to beat yourself up, like they're so much better than me, I will never get there, that is not helpful because you don't know their story, how long they've been practicing, what resources they've had, or what challenges they've faced. It's not fair comparison. Instead, focus on your journey. Look at others for inspiration and knowledge. Learn from their process and break down what you admire in their work and apply it to your own. That way, comparison becomes a tool for growth, not something that drags you down. And let's talk about mistakes. They're not just okay, they're necessary. Shifting your mindset from I need this to be perfect to I'm learning and experimenting will take so much pressure off. And honestly, I love how more artists these days are sharing their not so perfect artworks. It makes it easier for all of us to embrace imperfection. Alright, here's one I will never stop talking about. Building your visual library is absolutely essential for developing your taste, art style, or overall drawing skills. The more you look at other artists' work, the more ideas you will get for your own. If you're stuck in your own little bubble, you might not even realize the different ways you could approach things. Like maybe you didn't know hair could be drawn a certain way, or that you could use colors in a totally different palette. To build your visual library, start saving images that inspires you. Pinterest might go-to for this, but you can also save stuff on Instagram or whatever. And don't just stick to digital art. Go to museums, look at traditional paintings, watch animated movies, etc. It all adds up and gives you more creative ideas to work with. So yeah, those are the main reasons why your skills might feel stuck right now. But the most important thing is to remember that this feeling is temporary. Growth isn't like a straight line, it's something more like this. Some days you will feel like you're improving, and other days it will feel like you're starting over. And it's totally normal. If you're feeling stuck, take it as a sign that it's time to switch things up. Try something new, ask for feedback, or just take a break if you need to. In the next video, we're going to create a detailed drawing plan for 2025, so by the end of the year, you'll feel more confident in your skills and won't have that stuck feeling anymore. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful. See you in the next video. Bye.